Bags, what are you hoping to get out of the game tomorrow?
Oh, there's a few different things. Obviously, it's our first chance against opposition, which we've been playing ourselves for a couple of months. So it's good to give our game plan a bit of a test out against opposition teams. Good for conditioning as well, just getting that full 4 quarters in. We're sort of taking a team of 25 in tomorrow, and they'll get some valuable game time on the move into round 1. Get some cohesion happening hopefully, and try a few things out that we've been working on over the summer again against opposition, because you know, when you play yourself, the other guys always know what's going on, whereas it's not necessarily the case when you're playing opposition. So it's a good little test for a few little things that we've been trying to get better at over the summer.
Outside of Dizzy, is anyone else not playing?
Noah Ainsworth is not available yet. Connor McFadden. Outside of that, there's a couple of little niggly things, but basically we've got a pretty strong list available for tomorrow. We'll put a good team out there. Oh, Nakai Cockatoo's another guy that won't play. Yeah.
Sorry, Cockatoo's got the hand.
He's got a bit of a hammy at the moment. We're sort of trying to recondition him, so we're not in any rush to sort of get him out there playing. We'll bring him along slowly.
Given his injury history, is that a concern at all? Or?
No, not really. You know, when you get a new player to your club, you've got to learn a little bit about their bodies and what sort of loads they can take, and we've got a lot of good feedback on that over the last 4 or 5 weeks. He hasn't played much footy for 2 years either, so he's on a good pathway. He's in good shape at the moment and running really well, so he'll get introduced back into skills and stuff this week, and whether he's done enough work to be in line for selection in round 1, only time will tell, but we're happy with where he's at.
Where are you looking to sort of bring him into the side on the wing, or I mean, he's very versatile. He's got a lot of speed.
Yeah, he is. He can play anywhere really, from forward, midfield, back. So because he only played in our earlier practice games, which were like for 20 minutes, half an hour, we really haven't got a good gauge on where he best fits into our side at the moment. But it's good that he could go anywhere on the ground, I guess.
Do you think Joe will get some minutes, some good minutes?
Joe Daniher, yeah, we're looking at the training minutes the other day and game minutes, and Joey's in the top 2 or 3 at the club, so he's done plenty of work, but he's really looking forward to playing. He's the one bloke that's sort of new that we need to get a bit of connection with, so he'll play as much of the game as he can tomorrow and next week.
Will he play deep forward or the ruck?
He'll play both those roles. He's capable of both, and he's also capable of playing second ruck as well, so he'll appear in all of those different roles tomorrow.
There's some argument that he's kind of like the missing piece in the premiership jigsaw, or is that something you find?
Look, Jeremy Cameron might be the missing piece of the jigsaw puzzle for Geelong too. I mean, everyone's trying to find their missing piece. I think, you know, we've been a team that's been able to score really well over the last couple of years in the top 2 or 3 in the competition. So we don't want to become reliant on any one person. But we just think Joe will make our forward line a little bit more dangerous. You know, he'll take a good opposition player every week, but it's all about how the ball gets in there, and it's all about how well those guys work together. And he's just part of a unit of 10 players probably that go through there.
Are you surprised by how well he's settled? I mean, it seems from the outside that he has settled into the group really quickly and really well.
Well, I'm not surprised that our players have made him feel welcome, because they're pretty famous for that. They're a good group of lads, and you know, every bloke that's been recruited to our footy club's felt at home very quickly, as has his. If they have a partner, their partner feels at home, and so does the family. So from that end, not surprised at all. Of course, when a new player comes to your club, you don't know his personality or his character, but Joey sort of showed pretty quickly that he was going to fit in well. He's a reasonably laid-back personality, but he's got good intellect, a good sense of humour, and he's been a great addition to our group.
Chris, we found out during the week that you've been a switch for the next pre-season match. You're playing Gold Coast 2 weeks in a row, like the other teams outside Victoria are having to do as well. What are your thoughts on that, having to play the same opposition twice?
Oh, look, to be honest about it, mate, I haven't thought about it too much, because it's not like we had a choice, so it's not worth analysing really. It's just got, righto, that's what we've got, let's make the most of it.
Just back on Joe, you traditionally sort of use 2 ruckmen. Can you do the 2 ruckmen if you're going to have him stay, Hipwood up forward? Is that too tall in the side?
Probably, yeah. We'll probably, Joey will probably play second ruck or one of the other boys. We just got to work through that. But no, we'll probably move away from that model, I think. But you never know, we might come back to it at some point too. But at this point, no, we're probably moving more towards Joey doing the second ruck.
I've only seen a couple of trainings a week, but it seems Lockie Neal's still being used back in. He's okay?
Yeah, so Lockie played, we had a practice game, a full-length game last week. Lockie played a half of that game, pulled up really well. So he'll pretty much play the whole game tomorrow, but we'll just make sure he gets plenty of spells on the bench. We won't stick to the 75 rotations tomorrow. We'll probably have a few more than you would normally, so that, you know, by the end of the day, hopefully he's played around 75%, 80% game time. That's the progression for him, but he's training really well and looks like he's not too far away from being in great shape.
Is that the same with Dane? In terms of
Dane's
three quarters?
Yeah, no, Zorks is the same. He'll sort of play 75% across 4 quarters. You know, those guys are older guys. They carry a big workload during the season. They're probably not like younger guys that don't need as much work necessarily because they've got experience on their side and years of conditioning. So you know, they'll be right to go come round 1.
Chris, I just got.
Sorry, you go.
No, you go. I was
going to say,
yeah.
at this time of year, there's always a couple of young guys who are really pushing their case that may not have got opportunities in the past. I mean, is there anyone that has really impressed you this pre-season that might be knocking on that door?
Well, there's a few guys getting an opportunity tomorrow. So Jimmy Madden, our Irishman, who's been with us for 2 or 3 years now, he's got to play in the game in the seniors. Tom Fullerton, who we saw briefly last year in a couple of games and then he got injured, he's going to have a hit out tomorrow. Eli Smith is another guy that hasn't debuted yet, but he's going to play tomorrow through our midfield. He's had a really good pre-season, and obviously, you know, Joey Daniher is going to play. But they're probably the guys that have come into the side. Reece Matheson's form has been outstanding. Like, he's been on our list for a long time, but he's forced his way into the team tomorrow. So they're the sort of guys, I guess, that you're talking about that have bobbed up over the pre-season and are really deserving of an opportunity. And there's some others that are playing in the reserves are in the same boat. So there's a bit of pressure on for spots at the moment, which is good.
Eli looks like one of those kids who has been on the list for a couple of years now and had injuries and haven't had much of a chance to break into the side, but looks a totally different player this pre-season.
Yeah, he's come back fitter than he's ever been before. He did some great work over the summer, which has probably been the challenge for him. I think it always takes a little while for the penny to drop with some young guys about what they need to do, but he was a first-round draft pick a few years ago, and in fairness to him, it hasn't been an easy side to break into, particularly in the midfield, so he's developed along pretty well, and he's taken another step forward this pre-season.
I just had a broader coaching question which might bore everyone else. So just on the pathways for coaching, Chris, you did a long time as an assistant and a long time as footy manager and some other roles. Out of those roles, what do you think prepared you best for your time as a senior coach?
It's really hard to answer that. I still think it's the sum of all your experiences, and I don't want to sit on the fence with that answer. Each of those roles taught me different things. And even, you know, way back when I was 21, I was coaching the local primary school. I learned a lot of things there too. So, no, it's just all the little experiences along the way. I think teach you probably more than anything the best way to manage people and to teach people. So that's how I'd answer that question.
So you think that, just thinking about coaches from now, you've taken that path. Obviously, David Noble's been selected from a similar path. What do you think's the right pathway now for coaches looking to break into that?
I think there's no right pathway for anyone. Everyone in their life have had different experiences that will help them. For some, it's going to be blokes who are great players that do a normal apprenticeship coming through the ranks. For others, it'll be, you know, they maybe leave the game and go and coach their own teams, which I think's an invaluable experience. I would always recommend that. But I don't think there's any particular type of person or any particular pathway that necessarily leads to you becoming a better coach. I had to go the long way because I didn't play AFL footy, so I don't know, it was my 20th year in AFL footy when I got the opportunity, so it was a fairly long apprenticeship and it's held me in good stead, but I don't necessarily think that everyone needs to go about it in that manner.
Zorks joked yesterday that he sort of is it imagining some of your frustration at the on the mark rule in the first couple of weeks? Are fans going to have to like deal with some teething problems when we don't really, not everyone's around the rule yet?
Oh look, the opposition fans won't like it if their bloke takes a little half step one way or the other and it's 50-metre penalty, it goes through the goals. They won't like that. But the reality is that's the rule. We've been learning about it all pre-season. We'll get some more feedback tomorrow against opposition, and it'll be the first time that we've actually had three or four AFL umpires umpiring a game. So we'll learn a little bit about that tomorrow. It's not about. I don't think it's about being critical of a rule. It's been made for a reason. They hope it's going to speed the game up. Our job as coaches is to make sure that our players guard the mark in the best possible way they can under the new rules, and also do everything we can to exploit the fact that they have to guard the mark in that manner. So that'll be some of the learnings that we get tomorrow.
With Marcus Adams was saying the other day how he's desperate, feels a bit guilty about the past couple of years. Will he be involved tomorrow?
He'll be playing in the reserves game. More for that reason. He just hasn't played a lot of football over the last couple of years. He's had a pretty decent pre-season and he's going quite well. And I'm hopeful for his sake that he does get the opportunity to play lots of games in a row, because there's no doubt that when he gets back to his best form, he's going to be part of our side. So that's where we see him at the moment. Fingers crossed that he keeps being able to front up each week and play and get that game time under his belt that he needs.
And is next week the last game before the season, against opposition?
It is. Yeah. So anything else that we do between then and round one is just purely inter-club stuff. So we might have a little bit of a hit out in between round one and that game. It just depends on how we assess things at the end of next week.
So does that mean you use maybe sort of like what's name? Tomorrow as a build up to next week, where you might do things a bit different, or you play
No, look, we're going to try and play the way that we want to play. We've got a brand of footy that we play, and we've got an attitude that we like to play with, and really we want to do that every time we step out. So we'll be trying to do that tomorrow, and we'll be trying to do it next week. And what usually happens is you get a little bit better at it as you approach that first game of the season.